Hi, Writing and Research. Hopefully all this talk about the career research project is not scaring you and is making you excited. Hopefully last week was a week of kind of understanding a little bit more about yourself. If you're like me, taking those surveys and quizzes are actually kind of fun. So hopefully that's what it was for you last week. And it was a chance for you to help you get to know a little bit more about yourself career-wise. And also hopefully you're kind of thinking about which career you will want to choose. Keep in mind, whatever career you choose, I'm not gonna write something down that says, this person has got to do this career, they did it sophomore year. No. What's really cool about this project is sometimes you research the career and then you realize, oh my gosh, I couldn't even research that career without like wanting to pull my hair out for 6 weeks. There's no way I could ever do it. And that's a step in the right direction. Knowing what career you don't want to do can be just as beneficial as knowing what career you do want to do. So hopefully last week you had a chance to read over just kind of the online guide for what we're going to do each week and what's included in this project, because that will help you. But one of the most important things that I wanted to make sure I did another video on and make sure you guys really understand is the categories that you need to include in your speech. Okay, so there are 10 of them. And that means that you should be including a little bit about each of them. It doesn't mean you need to go on a full 2-minute rant about each of them. No. And if you have a little bit more for one and a little bit less for another one, totally fine. But you should understand these categories and get to know them pretty well. And so the 3 things I would suggest you do is read through them in that first source I gave you just about the career research project. They're in that file. Read through them, get to know them just by reading them. Second thing, you're doing it, watch this video and hopefully it will help you understand them a little better too. And then the last thing you're going to do is you are going to take that matching quiz. You can take as much time as you want. It's not a big stressful test or quiz. But you do only have one time to take it, so make sure you're kind of serious about it. And that is just helping you match up, okay, this is what this category means. This will help you both with your research, because then when you're researching, you know, okay, I don't need any more things about this category. I need to research some stuff about this category now. It can also help you with your interview, because when you interview, you want to try and ask questions about each of these so that you know you have something for each of them. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through, because sometimes, like I said, you guys are visual learners or auditory learners, and it helps you to hear it and see it rather than reading it yourself. That's the hardest part about this online stuff. Okay, so I actually made my own little flashcards. I'll be holding them up as I talk about them, and that might help too. Okay, so the first thing you need to include in your speech, the first category is job description. I would say this is the easiest one to kind of think about when you're doing the speech, because really I wrote up here, what do you do? So in this job, what do you do? What is it, right? This is especially helpful if you choose kind of an interesting or weirder job that we have maybe never heard of, and we're like, what is that? What do they do? Okay. And so just the duties, what you specifically would do every day. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretend I'm giving this speech as a teacher, and so I'll tell you some of the things that I would put in here. So job description for a teacher, right, is you need to put together curriculum, you need to teach the curriculum to students, there's grading involved. You could add in there, you are often in charge of supervising sports events maybe, or back to school days, things like that. Okay, so overall job description is probably one of the easier ones because it's what you think about. Second one, skills and abilities. Okay, so I wrote what skills and abilities are needed for this job. And so think about all the different jobs in the world and how someone who is working in an office answering phones needs completely different skills and abilities from someone who is running a company. Okay, not to say one of those is better or worse than the other, but maybe the person running the company needs to have more force and be able to be mean and be able to take charge of things. And the person answering the phones needs to have more human relationship abilities to be able to talk to people and understand them. Think about a counselor. They probably need way different skills and abilities than, let's say, someone who delivers mail. I don't know, right? Very different. So think about knowledge. So are there certain things you should know? You can't really see this, I'm realizing. Oh, there we go. Temperament is the next one. That's a big one. And then special qualities. So when I think of temperate as a teacher, so for teaching, skills and abilities, right? You need to be able to get along well with kids. Have you ever had a teacher that you're like, I swear they hate kids? And you're like, why would they ever be a teacher? That's temperament. You need to like kids if you're going to be a teacher. Another teaching temperament, you need to be pretty flexible. You don't have this rigid job that's just going to be the same every day. No, be pretty flexible, and things like that. Okay, so what skills and abilities will you need? The third one is educational requirements. What educational requirements do you need for this job? So I wrote job prep is what? Do you need to go to college? Do you need training? Do you need an internship, courses? How much is that going to cost? Maybe the job you're looking into is more of a training that you do on the job. And so maybe you're in a training position for 6 years. Or 6 years, that'd be a long time. 6 months. And so that is the training you would need. Okay. But maybe if you're going to be a teacher, you do have to go to college. Okay. You have to get your bachelor's in whatever you're going to teach, education, so forth. Okay. So do some research on that. What do you need to be able to even get into this job? This is a good question to ask your interviewer too, because they've done it. So that would be a good question. The next one is working conditions. And there's 2 back-to-back here, working conditions and working opportunities. So make sure you listen to the differences. But the question at the top is, what is working this job like? Right? So some questions that asks you, is it physical or mental work? Are you standing or are you sitting? Are you traveling? Do you work alone? Do you work with others? What are your hours? Right? And so if I was doing this as a teacher, I would say teaching is more mental work, right? Unless maybe you're a PE teacher or something and you're physical. I would say it's more standing than sitting, but you can talk about how it's 50-50 at home. I sit when I grade. And then you're having to work with others. You need to be able to get along well with others as a teacher, for sure. Hours, one thing that's interesting about teaching is I think you need to go into teaching knowing that you don't have hours. Like 8:30 to 3:30, great. But when I go home, I need to grade, or at night I'm doing this, okay? It's not a clock in, clock out job, for sure. So the next one is work opportunities. Sounds maybe similar, but it's different. And so at the top there, I put any perks or benefits of this job. So then at the bottom, special things you can do or qualify to do. Are there benefits? Would you get insurance? Would you get any bonuses? Would you get to travel? So maybe you're going to be a photographer and work opportunities are, okay, I would get paid to travel to Hawaii or something and take pictures. That's pretty cool. Benefits, insurance. So as a teacher, I would answer yes. Most teaching jobs, you get benefits, you get health insurance, which is awesome. I don't get bonuses or anything, but I do get summers off. So I put that as a work opportunity to know that's a definite perk or benefit to my job. Future opportunities comes next. It says, can you go up from here? So this is advances, promotions, long-term job security. So in this job, do you foresee in the future it being available to you? Yes or no, right? Maybe if you're doing a job that has to do with, I don't know, like I think about even like something like a librarian, right? Maybe now they feel like they don't have long-term job security because we can get so much online, things like that. Or I just watched a movie the other day where the family was in charge of a printing press, and now no one's printing paper. They just email and send things back and forth. So they felt like they didn't have good job security, right? As a teacher, I could say future opportunities. If I went back to school, I could go up and become a principal or a superintendent, or things like that. I could get my master's and get more money. And so that's one thing I could say as a teacher. Okay, getting toward the bottom. It's all about the money. Okay, salary and earnings. So don't just say this is how much they make. You can usually find online for most jobs a starting pay and how much they probably make a year. And so, but some more questions to ask is, do you get a yearly increase, or is your pay just set? Are you hourly, or are you on salary? So do you get just, no matter how much you work, a chunk of money every month, or is it based on the hours that you work? Okay, this is one that when you'll read the interview stuff tomorrow, this is something you don't ask in an interview unless you're really comfortable with them and you've like talked about it before. Even then, I wouldn't ask how much someone makes. It's just kind of something you don't do. But you should be able to find it online. You could ask them, I think I wrote this on the interview form, but what is a range of money I could make, right? And so it gives them a little bit of an out so that they don't feel like they have to say, this is how much money I make. Okay, and then these last 3 are ones that you don't need to research. So these are all gonna come from your research and your interview. These last 3 are gonna kind of come from you and your opinion about everything you've done in this project. So these ones will probably come at the end-ish. And this is the Christian perspective, okay? How can you serve the Lord in this job? Or if you're gonna kind of tweak it, and you're not going to necessarily focus on the Christian perspective, how can you serve others in this job? How can this job be a job that's not just for you to get money and feel good about yourself, right? But how can you live out your passion in this job and help it benefit others, not just yourself, okay? And so you could talk about in here, is it your calling? Do you feel like you're being called to do this job? Would it have an effect on your personal life or your faith, or your family, or your church life? And then where are opportunities to serve, okay? And so as a teacher, obviously, I have the opportunity to be a role model to young adults, to talk to you guys about my faith, to be Christ's hand and feet as I'm teaching you. And so that's one thing I could say. Again, this is not something you'll research, but something that you'll just answer. It's called the personal question. At the end of all this, is this career for you? Okay, after researching, do you see yourself considering it? Why or why not? I want you to say that in your speech. I want to hear, after all this research, are they thinking about doing this job still, or was it a total bust and now at least they know not go in that direction? Okay, and that's fine. And so include that in there. Lastly, your survey results, you did that last week, so that's why you're going to keep those handy. Somewhere, this doesn't have to be at the end, but what did your survey/strengths say? What were your results? Do you think they could help you in this career? Yes or no? For sure want you to see at least 3 of your strengths in here. And so, for example, my strengths, one is maximizer, achiever, and communicator, okay? And so maybe I would talk about how I can achieve and maximize my time well as a teacher, for the best of the students, but also communicator's a big one as a teacher. I need to be able to communicate with you guys and understand where you're coming from and communicate where I'm coming from too. And so that would benefit me as a teacher. And so we like to keep those strengths in there too, because you're gonna have to use those strengths continually throughout every year. Seniors have to use them in senior speeches. And so it's just good to keep remembering what they are and using them, even though we haven't used them since last year when you took the test, okay? So those are the 10 categories you must include. Hopefully this video helped a little bit just to kind of solidify what they are. Like I said, read through them again and make sure you're comfortable with them, because the more you understand these 10 categories, the easier the speech and the research will be for you. It'll be pretty straightforward, okay? Okay, that is it. Have fun taking the matching quiz at some point today. Bye guys, miss you.